Okay, so this may be a bit of an odd video, and I promise you that I'm not looking at the camera while I'm driving my vehicle. I am looking at the road completely. I just had another incident that's a bit disturbing to me, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it because this time I got upset for a different reason. So let me explain. Last night, I was driving home, and the car ahead of me... Okay, well, let me back up and say that I've always had a fear of hitting animals. I have a huge, huge heart for animals, and I love animals beyond anything, and I can't stand to see them hurt or abused in any way, so I'm ultra sensitive to it. With that being said, last night I was driving home, and the car directly ahead of me hit something. Well, I wasn't sure if it hit it or if it just knocked the wind out of it or whatever, but it went ahead, and then by the time I saw it, this thing was rolling, doing flips, on the ground, and I was like, oh dear God. I freaked out immediately because it's always been in my mind, God, please don't ever let me hit anything. I don't want to see anything being killed. I'm just really ultra sensitive to it. And so this car rolled over it, and as it was spinning round and round, I was like, oh my God, oh no. So then I swerved immediately. Of course, I looked in the rearview mirror behind me and swerved immediately to get out of the way so I didn't run over it. Then I would have just died if I'd have run over it. But it was a possum. And so I went down the road for another maybe 2 blocks, and I just couldn't live with myself thinking that animal may have not died, but he might be there in pain and might be just in pain, and I just couldn't go on, down the road, and leave it there thinking that I might be able to help it. Cause then I thought if it's not all the way dead, maybe it'll, get better, if I push it off the road and whatever. I know they're very, very, very mean animals. So I decided to turn around to go back cause I was going to edge him off the road if he was there. And so I'm coming back in the other lane now. And, as I'm approaching, there's nobody else coming from either direction. So I pulled up alongside him in the opposite lane now, and I rolled my window down, and I'm looking down at him, and I'm like, gosh, I'm not sure if he's alive or not. He kind of looks like it. And, I had a tripod in my car, and I was going to, kind of move him off to the side. And I was very scared, too. And no sooner did I look back up, and here comes a car down that lane. Well, I was hoping that he was going to see me sitting there, with my flashers on and everything, and, kind of be aware that something was going on. He didn't even flinch, and he rolled directly over this possum. And I mean to tell you, well, that was the worst for me because I was sitting there looking out my window, looking down at him. I was about 3 feet away from him. Of course, then he got run over, and I just couldn't believe that happened because I saw it get hit, and then I saw it really get killed. This car rolled directly over it, and it sounded like a paper bag. If you would take a paper bag and you just go, I heard every bone in its body crack, and that was just the worst thing in the world for me, for somebody who doesn't like to see animals hurt and doesn't want animals to be hurt and all that. So I experienced the maximum that I could possibly ever experience with an animal being hit or being killed. It was just simultaneous, kind of one after the other. Both of my fears just, coming to fruition. Well, okay, so then I had a hard time getting over that last night. And, I hate to think about it. But just now, I'm driving down the road, and here's a puppy. A little puppy in the road, and it's licking something off the road. Well, of course, here I go again, putting my flashers on, and I'm thinking, I need to get this puppy out of the road or pick him up or shoo him or whatever. And here comes this woman down the street, and she starts yelling at the dog. And I said, oh, is this your puppy? I said, I was afraid that he was going to, get hurt or something. And I just witnessed something like that yesterday, and I just couldn't drive by him, just standing there on the road, And so I pulled over, and then she starts screaming at the dog, Sasha, get over here! Sasha, get over here! And she's like, I don't know how he got out or whatever, but she didn't really pay attention to the dog because it ran back out in the street as she's walking past it. And, and I said, well, I just didn't want anything to happen to him, didn't want him to get hit or anything. And she doesn't say thank you. She doesn't say, oh, okay, yeah, appreciate that. Or Nothing. She just starts screaming at the dog and going back inside, and I'm like, how rude. I stopped. I'm about to be late for my own appointment because I'm trying to save the dog. But how like negligent on her part not to even recognize that somebody is trying to help her out and, save her dog or whatever. So I was just really taken aback by these, I guess, 3 incidents, as you could call it. And, I just kind of wanted to share that. And I come from a Buddhist perspective of don't hurt anything, and I don't even like to step on ant piles and etc. Now, I promise you, if a roach is crawling on me or something crazy like that, I will kill it, because I will freak out enough that I will just kill it, dead. And but I don't like to hurt anything, no animals whatsoever. So, anyways, a couple things came to mind. Is she being rude for not having said thank you? Am I caring too much for animals? Should I not have stopped and tried to help the possum, or stop and tried to help the dog? And I kind of wanted some feedback on it. I'm tossed up in the air as to whether it's a good thing or not necessarily a bad thing, but another thing, or, where do you stand on something like this? Would you have stopped for the possum, or not for a possum, but maybe a dog or a cat? Is it Darwin? Is it, get the dummy ones out of the way, let them all die. If they're dumb enough to be in the road or whatever. I mean, that's of course not my thinking. But there are people with that thought, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just got to thinking, how upset it made me about the death, and how upset I kind of got to thinking about her, and just, kind of how rude. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, even your video responses would be great. So go ahead and like, comment, post, share. Definitely share. Because if you share, we can get other people involved in the conversation. It might turn out to be something really interesting that we'd all learn from. So I hope that you'll join in this discussion. And thanks for watching this up to this point. Thanks.